Hi, yeah, good morning. It's a bit tough to follow Alexei right after him, but I'll try my best. So I'm Zjan. I'm a software engineer at Canva. I'm working on the traces and exceptions team in the observability group for Canva. So today I'll walk you through Canva's migration journey, moving our logs and traces infrastructure over to ClickHouse. So I think if you're somewhere early on in your journey, of trying to use ClickHouse, or if you're trying to use ClickHouse for ops, this might be something that you would be really interested in. So let's start with Canva. So Canva, our mission is to really empower people to design, and that means for us that we're serving right now about 240 million plus monthly active users. And that translates to about almost 3 million spans per second and also 3 million logs per second. So that number is rapidly growing. It's doubling year over year, and the demands on our infrastructure is growing along with it. So we needed to rethink our approach to ops infrastructure, and we needed to build something that could scale with our demand. So we're at the ClickHouse open house, so spoilers, we chose ClickHouse, and I think it's going to be really obvious once you see the results that we gained moving to ClickHouse. So I'll walk you through the journey, the migration journey, starting from schema design to ingestion to building really delightful experiences on top of ClickHouse.
One face. Move your phone left and down.
Thank you. So let's start with traces, and just to really grab your attention, let's start with the results. So moving to ClickHouse, we managed to get 70% cheaper costs. Basically, we reduced the size of our infrastructure to 30% of our legacy infrastructure, and we improved our search performance by 10x. So let's start with the left number, the 70%. That's mainly down to two things. We're doing more and storing more with less. So yeah, with ClickHouse, we were able to shrink our trace storage infrastructure to a third of its size. And speaking of that infrastructure, we decided to keep it really simple. We are running a pretty standard ClickHouse cluster. It's a 5-shard, 3-replica cluster distributed across AZs. Each node has about like 60 vCPU and 400 gigs of RAM. We directly manage those ClickHouse nodes. We don't run an operator. It runs Argo CD for CI/CD. We use JSONnet for templating. And we use that to template both our Kubernetes manifests and the ClickHouse configuration. So matters of like scaling up, scaling out are handled by JSONnet. Yeah, and lastly, we use a single storage tier. We use EBS GP3 SSD volumes. Across the board, we use multiple disks per node, and we just use JBOD configuration for all of those. So just deploying all of this, though, is not really enough. Getting things to work with that much smaller infrastructure requires quite a bit of work. On our side, we needed to optimize ingest in our pipelines. So this is what the trace delivery infrastructure looks like for Canva. We receive traces via OpenTelemetry agents. So that's the Canva application, and then it sends to agents in daemon sets, and then that sends to a centralized OpenTelemetry collector deployment. From there, we send them onwards to our storage backends. Since this is a multi-node distributed ClickHouse cluster, we use a distributed table to manage distribution of inserts and queries across nodes. That combined with async inserts meant that ClickHouse was doing the work of batching and distributing the data for us. It gave us decent ingest performance, but we needed more. So next slide is we take a look at those OpenTelemetry collectors. Besides sending data to storage backends, our collectors also handle pretty complex processing and metrification pipelines. So as a requirement, that meant these collectors had to be able to buffer a significant amount of telemetry of traces in memory. So we used that to our advantage and used the collectors to help us batch and group these traces. This meant that we freed up ClickHouse from having to do all that batching, all that distribution. So moving the batching to the collectors meant that we were doing fewer and larger inserts into ClickHouse. Furthermore, we also decided to skip the distributed table. Now we write directly into each ClickHouse node and into the local tables. So for production data, what that meant is that in the collectors, we batch spans into about 200K rows per insert. And each batch is about 160 MIPS in size. Continuing on, so with the combination of batching and grouping in the collectors, as well as just like writing directly into ClickHouse, we were able to get that ingest performance that we needed to really move our production workloads. And best of all, it gave us the headroom that we needed to improve query performance. So with all that done and with data in ClickHouse, we were able to store more with less. 70% in cost saving, mostly achieved through really ClickHouse having amazing out-of-the-box performance and just really amazing compression. We were able to get a 14x compression ratio for our span data, and that really gave us the room to use the single storage tier, simplifying operations, and also just like speeding up everything. And also let us really build additional structures, indexing structures on top of the data, on top of the raw span data. So that kind of leads right into the next number that I showed, right, which is the 10x multiple on the query performance. So while really migrating this to a much smaller architecture was already a big win, having that and similar performance would already be really good, we needed to pass on some of that improvement to our users. So yeah, let me take a breather. Okay, so getting good performance out of tracing with ClickHouse really starts with schema design. So this is the schema, part of the schema that we use. So it's a schema that's completely tailored for our tracing use case. It's optimized for the tracing interfaces that we run. What you see here are our schemaful columns. These are mostly the standard trace context attributes, a handful of like common queried span and resource attributes that we use. If you're interested in our like end-to-end tracing setup, you can take a look at the link. There's a lot more in there. It should tell you about what that looks like. But this is all good, but the biggest challenge that we faced really was supporting schemaless attributes. So to support schemaless attributes, we designed them as pairs of arrays, an array of keys and an array of values. So when combined, this allows us to store any number of arbitrary attribute names for a given type. We then create these pairs for each type that we want to support. So we have strings, bools, int arrays, whatever you want to support. So converting these back into objects is then really simple because of built-in ClickHouse functions such as map from arrays. These days, though, you probably don't need to deal with this because we now have stuff like dynamic, variant, JSON data types. So that's really good and really caters to the schemaless use cases, especially for obs. So now looking at the actual interface for traces, we use Jaeger. It's over here on the right. You can see that it has a service, a span name filter. So we expect most of our users to really filter by service and span name. So we use that to our advantage, and we use service name, span name, timestamp as our sorting key, as our primary key. That means that if you provide those filters, you really reduce the number of parts that you have to scan to get to your result. Vastly reduces the number of parts, much faster queries. And then for partitioning, we partition by day and apply a 14-day TTL on our data. That means that we can cycle data on like a per day chunk. And also prevents the data parts from getting way too big. Okay, so most of what I showed you was optimizing on that service name, span name search, right? But a lot of the tracing use cases also searching for a specific trace ID. And that's where we had to create a separate lookup table for the trace ID. In our case, we materialized this view, but this is also very similar to a projection. We basically take that trace ID, we couple it with the service name, span name, and searching for the trace ID gives you the primary keys for the parts that you really want to hit. So this lookup table in combination with the previous schema design work made our search really, really fast. And then to top it off, we also did some client optimization. So we do client-side optimization to further reduce the scan area and to further reduce the number of parts that we query. We implemented a sliding search window with a back-off mechanism to really incrementally scan that table. Because at least for traces, we don't need to show all of the results during that time period. All of this gives us this nice 10x multiple in terms of performance improvement, going from 30 to 2.5 for the P90s in our search. Yeah, so that's tracing done. That really gave us the confidence to go ahead with migrating our logging infrastructure. So this is what the logging infrastructure looks like. It's kind of the same. Our ClickHouse setup for logs remains mostly the same. The difference here is that we use Kinesis, data streams, and lambdas to deliver our logs to our storage backend. Now, due to payload limits with how KDS and lambdas work, and due to the nature of lambdas, we couldn't do the same batching that we do in the OpenTelemetry collectors. So what we do for logging is we actually use the native async insert functionality from ClickHouse to let ClickHouse do that batching. But this is something that we had to come to empirically. We did a ton of experiments tuning these async insert parameters per table just to really get something that performs really, really well, but it does perform well. We are able to scale down our cluster. So if you remember, we run 15 nodes. We can get that down to 2 nodes and maintain 100% of the ingestion. So yeah, that's really mostly ingestion. We managed to solve tracing and logs mostly at around the same time. So for logging, the bulk of the work was in delivering a good logging experience for users. To make that happen, we really needed to make free text search work with ClickHouse. So coming from Elasticsearch, our users are used to not really caring about using filters. They just chuck in the term in the free text search and then expect it to work. So our implementation only had free text on one of the attributes for our logs. So if you take a look at our logs, they contain multiple objects. They had body, resource. These are all structured fields with basically JSON in them. So our initial approach limited that search to a single attribute in that object. What we did to expand that to the whole object is in the pipelines, we process that object, we flatten basically the values and turn it into a single string. And then we apply a bloom filter on it, and just bloom filters are really amazing and basically gives us that free text search effect on these values. Yeah, and then we applied that to all of the objects in the logs event, and there finally, the final approach is us combining all of these together into a single log values field with a nbloom filter on it, and that gave us the free text feature and performance that we needed. So another advantage of this approach with ClickHouse compared to our old infrastructure is that this uses an n-gram bloom filter, which means we could do substring searches on these values, something that we couldn't do before with our previous infrastructure because it was using a token, it was using tokens for searching. Yeah, so with that out of the way, we were ready to build a logging platform for our users that they would really love. So we went through the schemaless stuff earlier, and it works great, but it's a bear to work with as a developer and a user. So what we did was we built a query gateway to abstract that schemaless design from our users. So this really simplified the logging interface and made development and usage much easier. This also provides a translation layer for a log search DSL that we developed to make things easier for our users, to make it easier for them to migrate from using the Kibana querying language and into ClickHouse. So finally, we present all of this. We wrap it all up in this very nice completely custom logging platform. And yeah, with ClickHouse and the query gateway, we managed to build a ton of the features that you would want from a logging platform. We have a query builder, we have searching by code, we have autocomplete, and looks really, really good, and a massive kudos to our logging team. And yeah, that's pretty much it for logging. And a few final slides, a few changes before sending things into production. We partitioned our nodes into read-write and write-only replicas. So this is basically isolation. Our clients only read from read-write, and then ingest pipeline, that should have an arrow up there, sends to both. And then we also do backups. This one should be S3. So we run hourly and daily backups. These are basically just cron jobs in the Kubernetes cluster that trigger the backup operations on ClickHouse. For the recovery process, we don't actually recover to the same table. What we do is we use a separate table. We restore the data there. That way we don't block the main ingest path. Yeah, so that's our backup. And finally, if you're running AWS or if you have any chance to use like ARM64 nodes, we found really, really good performance improvements just moving architectures. In our case, we found 1.7x better performance with Graviton 3, and then more than 2 times faster performance for Graviton 4. Yeah, so it's really good. And yeah, thank you. Massive, I just wanted to say thank you to the tracing and logging team in Canva, and also the amazing support team from ClickHouse who've really been instrumental in getting this to production. So thank you.
Well done, John.